Unexpected things happen. Your car breaks down, a medical bill arrives, the water heater starts leaking, your homeowner's insurance suddenly increases. Most homeowners can handle one unexpected expense. It may be frustrating. It may require dipping into savings or using a credit card, and usually you figure it out and move forward. The real problem begins when one unexpected expense is followed by another. Imagine a family living in Nevada. Both parents work, they own their home, their mortgage has always been paid on time, they have decent credit and some money in savings, they're not facing foreclosure, they're not behind on their mortgage. In fact, from the outside, everything looks perfectly normal. Then one morning, their car won't start. They have it towed to a repair shop, and later that afternoon, they get the call. The repair is going to cost $4,500. They could take the money from savings, and they don't want to wipe out a large portion of their emergency fund. So they put the repair on a credit card. They'll pay it down over the next several months. That's manageable. Then a few weeks later, their daughter gets injured playing soccer, emergency room, x-rays, follow-up care. Fortunately, she's fine. Then the medical bills arrive. Another $2,500. Suddenly, they've accumulated $7,000 in unexpected expenses in less than 2 months, and life hasn't stopped. The mortgage is still due, groceries still need to be purchased, the electric bill still arrives, gasoline still goes in the cars, insurance still has to be paid. Now the credit card company wants a payment too. That's how financial pressure often begins. Not with a missed mortgage payment, with an unexpected expense, then another. And eventually, those expenses begin competing with the mortgage for the same household income. Let's look at what happens next. Maybe this family had $10,000 in emergency savings. They could use $7,000 to pay those bills. And now most of their emergency fund is gone. What happens if the air conditioner fails next month? What happens if the roof starts leaking? What happens if someone loses overtime at work? That's why many homeowners use credit cards instead. They're trying to preserve their cash. Initially, that makes sense. The problem is that the expense doesn't disappear. It becomes debt, and debt creates another monthly payment. Maybe the minimum payment starts at $300, then another expense goes on the card. Now it's $400, then $500. Eventually, the credit card payment begins looking like another car payment, except you're paying for things that happened months ago. And that's when a household budget can begin changing quickly. Think about everything today's homeowner may already be paying: mortgage, property taxes, homeowner's insurance, car payments, auto insurance, utilities, groceries, gasoline, medical expenses, home maintenance, and credit cards. All of those expenses are competing for the same paycheck. If income isn't increasing as quickly as those expenses, something eventually has to change. And here's what I've seen happen. The mortgage usually isn't the first thing homeowners stop paying. They protect the house as long as possible. Instead, retirement contributions get reduced, savings stop growing, vacations disappear, home repairs get postponed, vehicle maintenance gets delayed, then credit card balances begin increasing. Maybe groceries start going on a credit card. Each decision creates a little breathing room, and eventually there's nowhere else to cut. That's when the mortgage payment can become part of the problem. And that's an important point. A missed mortgage payment is often not the beginning of financial difficulty. It's one of the later warning signs. The earlier warning signs appeared months before. That's why homeowners should pay attention to what's happening around the mortgage, not just whether the mortgage is current. There's another misconception worth discussing. Having equity doesn't necessarily mean you're financially comfortable. Imagine your home is worth $600,000 and you owe $300,000. That's $300,000 in equity. On paper, you're doing extremely well, and you can still be struggling to pay this month's bills. That's because equity and cash flow are different. Equity is wealth stored in your property. Cash flow is what pays the electric bill on Friday. A homeowner can have plenty of equity and very little available cash. That's why understanding both is important. You should have a reasonable idea of what your home is worth. You should know approximately what you owe, and you should understand what your monthly budget actually looks like. That doesn't mean you're preparing to sell. It means you're informed, and information becomes incredibly valuable when finances begin getting tight. There's also an emotional side to this. Financial stress affects people. They lose sleep. They become anxious every time another bill arrives. Couples begin arguing about money. People stop looking at credit card statements because they don't want to see the balance. They tell themselves they'll deal with everything next month, and next month becomes the month after that. One thing I've learned working with homeowners facing difficult financial situations is that very few people believe they asked questions too early. What I hear much more often is, I wish I had looked into this sooner, because time matters. The earlier you understand the problem, the more choices you generally have. So what should homeowners watch for? If your savings continue shrinking, pay attention. If credit card balances are increasing every month, pay attention. If you're putting groceries or utilities on credit because there isn't enough cash available, pay attention. If you're postponing necessary repairs because you can't afford them, pay attention. And if you're beginning to wonder whether next month's mortgage payment is going to be difficult, it's time to start asking questions. None of those things automatically means you're going to lose your home. And they certainly don't mean you should immediately sell. They mean something has changed. Find out exactly what changed. Look at your income. Look at your expenses. Look at your debt. Understand your home equity. Then look at your options. Maybe the situation can be corrected with changes to the household budget. Maybe credit issues need to be addressed. Maybe there are mortgage options worth exploring. Maybe selling the property makes financial sense. And if the property is worth less than what is owed, there may be other solutions, including a short sale. The important thing is to understand those possibilities before you're forced to make a decision, because financial problems become much harder when someone else controls the timeline. Nevada Strategic Property Group is a collaborative team serving homeowners throughout northern Nevada, including Skip Benton, Tony Taylor, and Savannah Lee with Coldwell Banker Select Real Estate, along with Angie Salcido of Premier Credit Solutions. As a certified short sale expert and certified distressed property expert, my role is to help homeowners understand their real estate options when financial circumstances begin changing. Our goal isn't to tell you to sell your home. It's to help you understand where you stand and what choices may be available. One unexpected expense doesn't have to change everything. The danger comes when several expenses begin piling up and you don't recognize what they're doing to your overall financial picture. Don't wait for a missed mortgage payment to tell you there's a problem. Pay attention to the earlier warning signs, and if you're concerned about what those signs may mean for your home, contact us today for a confidential review of your situation or simply to get more information. There's no pressure and no obligation, just an opportunity to understand your options while you're still in control.